Alright, my project was on the amounts of sugar in different chocolate bars. Some fun facts are almost half of the world's chocolate is consumed in America. Chocolate makers use 20% of the world's peanuts and 40% of the world's almonds. Before chocolate was enjoyed as a sweet treat, the Aztecs drank it as a spicy beverage. And studies have proven that eating chocolate before an exam can help with understanding and passing with a higher grade. My original question was, how does the amount of sugar differ between chocolate bars? And I measured between different brands, milk versus dark, and regular chocolate versus chocolate with other additives to it, such as peanuts or caramel. My hypothesis was that I predicted that between brands there won't be a significant difference, but between dark and milk chocolate, I expect there to be a higher amount of sugar in milk chocolate. Between regular chocolate / dark chocolate and chocolate containing other items, I expect there to be more sugar in the chocolate containing other items. So this is kind of overwhelming, but these were, on the left are all the different brands I used and different things in those brands. And on the right is a graph showing the different amounts of sugar between all those. And as you can see here, those two are actually king-size Hershey bars, so they can be considered lurking variables due to the fact that they're much bigger than the others. But what I found interesting was that these three over here are all Milky Way brand chocolates, and these two are Snickers, so there's definitely a higher amount in those brands. Some summary statistics would be, I did the mean is 22.2 grams of sugar in between all of them. The median's 20 grams, the mode is 21, and the Q1's 19 while the Q2 is 22. And there's no trend or pattern in my stats because they were all very different, and the strength is weak, obviously. To begin, Hershey's is pretty average. What I found to be interesting was when we added almonds, the amount of sugar actually decreased significantly from the regular without almonds. And the difference between milk chocolate and dark chocolate is pretty significant. The dark chocolate is has much less amount of sugar in it than milk chocolate. And this is a pie chart just to explain the percentages. Next, I did Cadbury, and what I found interesting here was compared to milk with caramel, the milk with caramel was less amount of grams of sugar than the actual milk. So somehow the caramel of the Cadbury milk chocolate decreased in sugar. And the same as the Hershey's, the Cadbury milk compared to the Cadbury milk with almonds, it decreased significantly. And the change to dark from milk decreased significantly. And that's a pie chart. Next I did Dove, and similar to the Hershey and Cadbury, the Dove milk was more grams of sugar than the Dove dark, and between the Dove dark with almonds and the Dove dark, it was much less with the almonds. And the Dove dark compared to the Dove dark with mint, the mint was much more than even the milk, which I found very interesting. And this is a pie chart. Next I did Ghirardelli, and there was a lot of variables within Ghirardelli. So these got cut off, so I put them over on the left. But what I found interesting in this brand was that the Ghirardelli milk and the Ghirardelli milk with caramel was exactly the same amount of grams. What I also found interesting was that the milk with sea salt and almonds was down significantly. The dark went down more than any other. The dark with caramel actually went up compared to other brands where the addition of caramel made a decrease, while the Ghirardelli dark with raspberry was actually had a larger amount of sugar than any other of the variables within Ghirardelli, which I found very interesting. And this is a pie chart. I also did Gold Emblem, and like the others, milk compared to milk with almonds was much less. milk with sea salt and caramel was actually the same as the milk. The Gold Emblem Dark was the lowest of them all, of every single chocolate, which it was at 11 grams of sugar. And what I found extremely strange was that the addition of sea salt to the dark made it almost actually double, basically, in amount of sugar, which I found to be very weird. And that's a pie chart. And for my final one, I decided to add all three into one. I did Milky Way, Snickers, and Lindt. And so what I found was this is the caramel, even though it got cut off. Like the Ghirardelli, the addition of caramel to the milk, it was exactly the same. The change to dark, it only decreased a gram of sugar, which I found very interesting because the others decreased more significantly. But what I also found was that, like I said earlier, the Milky Way and Snickers were some of the largest with the grams. As before, like Gold Emblem, it was in between 18 and 24. This chart is between 20 and 30, which is very high. And the Lindt bar, I just want to make a note, this is what the Lindt bar looked like. It was much smaller than probably the others, but it had a smaller amount of sugar. And that is the pie chart. So my conclusion was that between brands, there's not a significant difference in amounts of sugar, except for outliers, which includes Milky Way and Snickers. But between milk chocolate and dark chocolate, there is a significant difference in amounts of sugar in all brands tested, where dark chocolate has a much lower amount of sugar than milk. When there are other ingredients added to the chocolate, such as caramel or almonds, the amount of sugar seemed to decrease or stay the same. My hypothesis was partially correct. Thank you, Gomez.